Hi, I'm with etrailer. If you have a 2022 Toyota 4Runner and you're looking for some chains for those more extreme situations, but you're looking for something that's also going to last you a long time, then the Pewag Tire Chains are going to be a great option for you. So let's check them out. Now we are going to have this on tire size 265, 70, R17, but this will fit a variety of other sizes. And we're also going to have this on the rear axle is what the manual recommends. Now if you're not sure if this is going to fit your vehicle, you can plug in your vehicle's information into our fit guide and find the right one for you. And we can take a closer look at the links themselves. So this is going to be made from a nickel manganese alloy. And what that means is they're going to be very durable chains that are going to last you a long time. And they're going to be very corrosion resistant. They're also going to have this square link design to them. That's going to help you bite through ice and snow. And it's going to have these ridges kind of outlined through them. That's going to help give you additional traction. If you notice, these are some pretty large chains too. Now even though they are larger, we're still going to have plenty of space to sit underneath here, especially if you tighten them down correctly and all the way. And we're going to have this ladder pattern to them. This ladder pattern is giving us more traction when we're stopping and starting. And if we look at the center, you'll notice we have this cam. What that cam is doing is just taking out any of the slack we have in these chains. We are going to have 3 of them per chain, and I am a big fan of them. It just makes this process a lot easier to do, especially for those larger chains like this. However, I still recommend using a rubber tensioner, because what a rubber tensioner is going to do is continually add tension to your chains. So when you're driving on the road, usually with chains, they're going to shift, and once they shift, they usually loosen up. And what this is going to do is constantly apply tension to those chains. Now this won't come with your kit. This is actually something you have to buy separately, and we have plenty of them on our website. Now what is going to come with the kit though is going to be 2 chains, this key for tightening down your chains, and this bag. Now this bag's pretty okay. It's going to be more made from a thinner material, and these are some pretty extreme chains, so after a few uses it's probably going to start to tear through. So what I'd recommend doing is just investing in a small tote to keep your chains in, just so they last longer and you don't have to worry about finding a new container for them. In my opinion, I think this is a great chain to invest in, especially since out of the Pewag chains, these are going to be some of the larger ones, because they do have a lot that are this similar style with all the same features. They're just going to be smaller links, so this is just going to be a little bit more aggressive. Now if you don't need something as aggressive, you need something for more of those moderate and snow and ice situations, but you want something that's going to be an easy installation, then I'd recommend the Koenig self-tensioning tire chains, because that's also going to have a built-in tensioner, so you don't have to invest in one separately. And what I like about that is you don't have to get underneath your vehicle. While we do have plenty of space to get underneath the 4Runner, the only issue is if you're in those snowy areas and you want to get underneath there, you'll get pretty wet. It's going to be kind of hard to get underneath there, especially if there is a lot of snow buildup. So that's just the reason why I like the Koenig tire chains. But if you're in those extreme situations, then this might be the better option for you to go with. Now if you are curious about this installation, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. To start off the installation, I have to grab a pair of gloves just to make this process simpler. And we're just going to check a few things on our chains. The first thing is just going to be making sure we don't have any damages. So we're just looking to make sure there's no scratches, no major dents, and all the welds look solid. And then we want to make sure it's in the right orientation. So we want to make sure this hook is facing up. And along with this cam right here, we want to make sure this is closest to us and furthest away from your tire. Once you check that, then we start putting it on. Now if you haven't done this before, then I recommend trying this out at home before going out, because trying to figure this out on the side of the road in the middle of a blizzard can be pretty tough. But from here, we're just draping it over the tire, and we're making sure it's getting an even fit. So we don't want anything like this where it's going to make contact with your rim. We're just going to adjust it so it sits evenly. And then from here, we're just going to continue that until we get to the bottom. This we're going to stretch out so we can access much easier on either side, so we can make those connections. And speaking of those connections that do that, we're just going to grab this hook. I'll have to start on the back side, because this is going to be the harder side to really work with. And we're going to reach over here until it gets pretty tight. You don't want to make sure this is too tight. If it's too tight, that's going to give you an uneven fit. So to make sure that is evenly distributed, it might take you a few times going back and forth. The connection on the front side is going to be a very similar process. I'm just going to reach over, connect it with these links until we get a pretty good tight fit. It's barely going to fit on here, I think. Once we get this on, then we can start checking this to make sure this is going to be a good fit or not. There we go. And from here, like I said, just pulling on here. And again, you're gonna feel this is gonna feel pretty loose at this stage, and that's okay. That's why we have this cam or this tool to tighten up our cams. Sometimes if you shake this too, it'll take out more slacks and you can tighten this down a bit more, but it still feels pretty good. And to use this key, you're just gonna have this flat side. It's gonna go into the center hole right here. After when you have that in the correct spot, you're just gonna turn this, it'll tighten down this cam. And you're just going to repeat that process all the way through until this is all the way tightened down. Now sometimes you won't need to tighten every single one, but in our case, I think we're going to need that last one as well. And once this is tightened, come back through and give it a good pull test to make sure you like the way this feels. And right now I think this is giving us a really good fit. While this is a good fit, I'm going to grab a rubber tensioner just to make sure we do have just a little bit more peace of mind. And the way I like to put this on is going to be in a star pattern. Again, that's just going to make sure everything's evenly distributed so we don't have any slack points. Another great thing this does, or to really watch out for, is make sure that hook is facing away from your tire just so it doesn't puncture anything. And when I do this for the first time, a lot of times, it's not going to be perfect. I'll have to adjust how this is kind of distributing that tension. Right now, this looks pretty good. I'll come back through, pull on it, make sure we have a good fit, and I'm going to repeat that process on the other side. Afterwards, I recommend either pulling forward or backing up some. Just make sure you still have a good fit. And if it is, then you can take it out for a ride. But that's just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Pewag Tire Chains on our 2022 Toyota 4Runner. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.